Hey everybody, it is June 15th, which means that in a few minutes I'm going to be driving north to Burlington, Vermont to compete in the Vermont Senior Games, which is part of a larger organization, I guess called the Senior Games, because they have a U.S. Senior Games and an international Senior Games as well. So this is the Vermont State Championships today. And I will be competing in the 1,500 meters and 800 meters on the track. This organization encompasses more than just track and field. They also have tennis and pickleball, swimming, triathlon, table tennis, basketball, golf, and I'm thinking more sports as well. So I was really excited when I heard about this. I didn't even know it existed until a few weeks ago. So I'm curious to see what type of event it is and how it compares to a USA Track and Field event. USATF, USA Track and Field, is the governing body of running in the US, and they administer all the national championships. They're part of the Olympic trials and the Olympic team, etc. So this is an offshoot, and it's more about celebrating aging athletes in many sports. So I'm curious to see who shows up, if they're USA Track and Field athletes that I've competed against in the past, or new people that I've never met before. Anyway, I'm excited to go. I'm also nervous because I don't run anymore. I definitely don't run fast anymore. I haven't run fast in training. Oh man. 2016 maybe, 2015, I don't even know. I've done some fast racing, but no fast training. I do not do intervals. I do not do speed work. And part of my nervousness is that in 2019, I jumped into the High Street Mile in Newburyport, Massachusetts, just on a whim. I was not running at that point. I was just doing my Bigfoot light and Bigfoot walking around filming trails. Wasn't really running at all in 2019. And I hopped in that race and ran a 4:41, which to me was good. That's exciting. It's like, okay, but you know, there are people that beat me. I might have been like 50th in the race. There were guys breaking 4 minutes. But then after the race, somebody came up and said, "You just broke the course record, and I think you just broke the American record." And I was like, what? No. So we looked at the results, and I had broken the course record, which was set, I think, in the 1990s for over 50. And the American record over 50 was 4:48, and I had run a 4:41 there. But it was not record eligible because the course has to have a start and finish that are within 100 meters of each other. And even though this was a flat course with no elevation drop, it was not record eligible due to the start and finish being far apart. So USA Track and Field paid for me to go out to Flint, Michigan to compete in the US Championships for the Mile Masters. And that was a hilly course with lots of sharp turns, and it was really windy. It was not ideal. And I ran a 4:46 there, so got the official American record, took 2 seconds off of it for over 50 in the road mile, not the track mile, but on the road. So that was fun because that came out of nowhere, and that really cemented these training modalities that I have been developing since 2017, 2016, the Bigfoot and the Bigfoot light. And I thought, wow, let's see what I can do with this. And I entered lots of other races in 2019, much longer races like the Escarpment 30 kilometer in the Catskills of New York. One of the most difficult trail races in the country. It is so technically challenging and dangerous, it is guaranteed that you are going to take a very bad spill in that race, and it could terminate you. There are cliffs that you're running along that you would not survive the drop. Anyway, I broke my own over 50 course record in that race in 2019. So this Bigfoot and Bigfoot Light were proving themselves to be phenomenal run training. But then I kind of put it to bed. In 2020, I wasn't running anymore due to the arthritis in my ankles, and I became a skier in 2021, cross-country skiing. and just let running go because I was having so much fun training for skiing and trying to become a great skier. There's so many more things you have to learn as a skier, so many more different body parts you have to develop, like upper body strength. And by the way, in 2019, when I set the American record in the mile, I was 145 pounds. I just did a weigh-in. I was 172 this morning. So I am carrying a lot more weight. And I'm not doing as much Bigfoot light and Bigfoot as I was back in 2019. I was often going 45 minutes to an hour or more several times a day. I'm not doing that right now. So I'm really curious to see what's going to happen today. I have no idea. My buddy Dave Dunham did the Massachusetts Senior Games yesterday, and he ran, I think, a 5:21 1500. So I'm going to just put that out there as a benchmark to see if that's possible for me, because I don't feel fast. I feel really heavy. My shoulders are so heavy. Just to move my arms requires so much more energy now. The new polling machine adaptations I've made for ski training have really added a lot of shoulder mass in the past few months. And I can feel that. So I have no idea what to expect. I'm not going to hold myself in comparison to 2019 Tim. That was also 6 years ago. I'm 57 now. I'm not 51 anymore. That's a big chunk. As you get older, each year takes more and more out of you. But I'm curious to find out. So here we go. I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to give my Adidas Adizero spikes another try. They're still super dirty from the mountain championships where they failed me miserably, but they've got good cushion, which I think is really important because I don't want to injure my Achilles in these races. If I want to use spikes, I can. I don't think I'm going to, but they've got a little bit of grip up there, which was not enough in the mountain champs, but I think on the track, these are going to be the way to go. So we'll see. They're nice and lightweight. All right. I'm here at the track in Burlington, and it is hot and sunny. I did not expect that. When I looked at the weather forecast a couple days ago, there was a chance of rain, and I thought that'll actually be perfect. And then when I looked last night, it forecasted cloudy conditions today, but it is hot and blue sky sun. Whew, so I'm trying to stay in the shade as much as I can. I did a warm-up and I feel like a truck. I feel so heavy. My legs just feel so tight. And even running between an 8 and 9 minute mile in the warm-up did not feel easy. My heart rate was rather elevated. So I don't know. I really don't expect much. To be honest, I think 5:20 is out of the question. I'm hoping to break 6 minutes. I really do not feel like a fast runner today. And there's some fast guys here, guys that I've competed against in the past in USA Track and Field. And even back in high school, one of the guys here, Benny Mitchell, we were very competitive back in the 80s in high school. And he's someone that has been right in my range in the USA Track and Field Championships over the years. And Josh Brown is also here. He says that he's in sub 5 minute shape. So I'm just gonna let those guys go. Not even gonna try to stay with them. I wanted to get some footage out on the track, but something that a lot of race directors are doing now is they set up a sound system and they play copyright protected music, which YouTube will demonetize you if you have that in your videos. So I was trying to film something and they turned it on and Highway to the Danger Zone started playing. And I'm like, oh man, it's a great song, but I can't have that in the background. So now I'm in my car, which feels like a sauna. So I'm gonna cut this short, get out and try to find some breeze under a tree somewhere. But yeah, This will be interesting. I'm having regrets for having signed up. All right, I will report back after the race. We are now 3 days post-event because I wanted to give myself a chance to see what the downstream effects were of running really fast in track shoes. But before we get there, I'll just come right out and say it. I got second place in the 1500 meter, ran a 4:57 point something. Huge surprise. And we started very slow. The first lap, I think, was a 1:23, minute 23 seconds, which is a pedestrian pace. And it felt slow, which surprised me. So on lap 2, we picked it up. And then on lap 3, the gentleman that actually won, Josh Brown, he really went for it. And I decided to go with him. And we had a blistering kick to the finish to get under 5 minutes. He ran a 4:54. I was 3 seconds behind him. And I broke 5 minutes. Huge surprise. So I'm thinking, had I known how much I was actually capable of and how much I would have at the end, like I was never really exhausted in the race, I probably could have run, let's just say 5 seconds faster. I don't want to get too optimistic, but let's say a 4:52 1500. That's really good data. That's a great place to start. Considering how much I had in the tank after the 1500, I thought, why not run the 8? Part of me was terrified because that's even faster. And another part of me was really curious. I have a history of running the 800 in high school and always going out too hard and barely making it to the finish line. Sometimes I wouldn't. I would collapse prior to the finish line. My legs would just give out. So that history kind of came up in me, and there was a sense of fear, but I also know that I'm not that kid anymore. So Benny and I towed the line in the 8. Again, I thought he was going to blow me away. But I took the lead from the gun, which really surprised me. I was aggressive. I had really good form, or at least that's how it felt. And then someone came up to me after who happened to be the track coach in Burlington, and he said, "You've got sprinter's form." And I'm like, I don't know. I just felt strong. Upper body strength from skiing. My shoulder drive was amazing. Anyway, I ended up getting a 2:27 to win the gold for the Vermont Senior Games State Championships. 2:27 is not fast for 800 meters. I'm not going to pretend it's fast. Even for my age, there are guys that can run 2:10 or perhaps sub 2:10. But that's sub 5-minute mile pace. And that's an important benchmark because I'm not that far away from my 2019 form when I set the American record. So now, 29 pounds heavier with 0 run training, 6 years older, I'm thinking I want to play around with the idea of going after the American record for 55 to 59, which currently stands at 4:47. Christian Cushing-Murray out of California took it from a 4:49 down to a 4:47 in 2023, and I used to run against him when I lived in Los Angeles, and he is a legend. He's a sub 4-minute miler and in his day, but never really slowed down much, and he has the most beautiful running form I've ever seen. So to go after a record that he set it's a dumb idea, but why not? Why not? But here's the thing. This experiment is not about becoming a runner in training like all the other runners. Like, what could I do if I trained like Christian? No, that's not what it's about. It's about training gently, not adding speed work to my plate, doing more Bigfoot again. I'm barely doing any Bigfoot outside anymore. I just do it on the treadmill. And it's not the same. Doing it outside is definitely more effective and also more mentally inspiring. I enjoy it a lot more. And I'm not sure why I've gotten away from that. Probably because the treadmill allows me to do shorter sessions in the middle of my work. I can work for a little bit, hop on, do 10 minutes, work for a little bit, hop on, do 15 minutes. So I want to keep my gentle approach. I want to keep my muscle mass. And I want to use my experimental training methods like the Bigfoot. I may add some running in, simply so I don't ruin my Achilles tendons and soleus. I don't want them having that kind of stress or load without some preparation. So I probably will do maybe 2 runs a week, shorter runs, maybe on the trails in the mountains at a very slow pace, but probably uphill. Generally, those are like 12 to 15-minute mile pace runs, so nothing that anybody would say is going to translate into a sub 5-minute mile on the track. But this is fun. I had no idea that I had this kind of speed. And again, I'm not saying that I'm super fast. I'm just super excited that my lack of run training and my increased body weight has still allowed me to break 5 minutes in a 1500. So we'll see where we go from here. And the reason I wanted to wait a few days to make this post-race video, I wanted to see what the effects were. The biggest thing that I noticed are my adductors. So the muscles on the inside of your thighs, commonly what people might call your groin. They were smoked. My hip flexors were probably number 2, the muscle that lifts the leg, lifts the knee, essentially. They're pretty tired because your stride is, your knees are moving up much higher. But the adductors really got hammered. I had a hard time walking the past few days because of my adductor soreness. Quads, glutes, soleus, calves were all good. So that's interesting. So what can I do in my training? What kind of experimental, gentle approach can I engage in that helps me get some adductor strength? So that's the next step. Still going to be gentle, still going to be strange, but got to work on those muscles a bit to get them prepared for the load I'm going to put them under. Anyway, I am now a gold and silver medalist at the Vermont Senior Games on the track, and I'm not a runner. And that's fun. So here we go. The experiment continues. I thought I'd keep the video going a little bit longer because I'm continuing the experiment today. It is now June 21st, and I'm about to compete in a 10-kilometer trail race in Ashfield, Massachusetts, called the Edge Hill Trail Race. It's got about 800 feet of climbing, lots of single track, some dirt road. It's going to be a lot faster than the U.S. Mountain Championships, not quite as long, but a different kind of running, and a type of running that I'm better suited for than the Mountain Championships. So I have not run since the 1500 meter and 800 meter last Sunday. So I've been doing some roller skiing, some elliptical, a little bit of Bigfoot light on the treadmill, and we'll see what kind of legs I have today. That's me! It is now late afternoon and I am just getting up from a long nap. The heat and sun knocked me out. My head felt like it was going to explode in the race. And after the awards and just hanging out chatting with people, the sun really kind of baked me. So I gave myself the afternoon off just to rest. And think about the race a bit. More great data. I am a trail runner, and that was revealed today. I got 3rd overall against a talented field. Jake Barnett, who won the race, very good runner. Mark Rabasco, who got 2nd. I've raced against Mark for a decade. Very good runner. And I was, I think, 11 seconds behind him at the finish. He did take a short wrong turn in front of me, probably lost 3 to 5 seconds, but either way, I was close and reeling him in at the end. Early in the race, my lungs felt a bit off. I couldn't get a full breath in. I had a sore throat when I woke up this morning, so there's something going on with my upper respiratory system, but I did some breathing techniques in the race and found a way around that, but I really couldn't take a full breath in, even with a somewhat lower heart rate. My heart rate got into the 160s a little bit, but for most of the race it was in the 150s, so It was not a hard cardiovascular effort. Anyway, I am very excited to continue to explore trail races and a mile on the road because I felt wicked strong in this race. Even in the later stages, I felt really, really strong. Aside from the lung conditions, aside from the heat, when I was able to open up, it just feels amazing. So I want to play around with a little bit of running in my training. Again, I don't want to get the ankle arthritis and the Achilles bone spurs screaming too loudly, because when they do, my life is just not fun. This was good data. This is now my third running race in the past month, and I'm getting better and better as I go. So this is exciting. Also, I want to give a big shout out to the Beast Coast running community and Amy Ruzicki, who is the RD of this event and puts on quite a few events in the hill towns of Massachusetts. What an awesome community. This was a really, really enjoyable event, and I look forward to more. Okay, I will keep you in the loop, but the experiment continues, and we're getting really good data. See you soon.